You don't ask, I don't lie. Clear?
Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're doing a deep dive on something a little different.
Oh.
Yeah, corporate espionage. We've got a ton of sources to go through. Incident reports, personal logs, leaked memos, the whole 9 yards.
That's juicy.
It is. And as always, I've got my partner in crime here to help us make sense of it all.
Happy to be here. And I've got to say, from what I've seen so far, these characters,
Oh, tell me about it.
they are playing for keeps. Everyone's got a secret, a hidden motive.
Multiple levels of deception. That's what makes this so interesting. So where do we even begin with all this?
Well, the crash, obviously.
Right, the crash. Rick Archee's private jet, the Kui, goes down in the Samar Desert.
Not just a crash, though.
No, this was sabotage. Hacked flight systems, bots disabled, the works.
Made to look like a futurist terrorist attack.
Yeah.
But the real story, that's where things get interesting.
Oh, yeah. For those who might not remember, Rick Archee is the CEO of Wise Corporation.
Wise, the tech giant. BNI, biochips, you name it, they're behind it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And get this, on that plane with him,
A whole bunch of execs from Sunco, a rival firm Wise had just acquired,
oh, I see where you're going with this.
including Steve Brighton, Sunco's recently fired technology director.
So we've got potential motives right out of the gate.
Internal power struggles, corporate sabotage, who knows what else.
And then there's In.
Ah, yes, in you, the mystery woman who pulls Rick from the wreckage.
Our sources describe her as a futurist, skilled in combat, advanced technology, disappears without a trace.
Talk about an enigma. Is she helping Rick? Or does she have her own agenda?
That's what we need to figure out. They make this crazy escape through the Samar Desert.
Pursued by God knows who, like something out of a movie.
And where do they end up? Hacker City, a haven for tech rebels and those who want to operate outside the system.
Interesting choice, isn't it? Makes you wonder just how desperate Rick is.
He's on the run, doesn't know who to trust, even within his own company.
And that's where Ira Gasparov comes in, the administrator of Hacker City, a man who knows more than he lets on.
Rick spills the beans to Gasparov. Corporate sabotage, data leaks, the whole shebang.
Specifically, data related to Wise's key algorithms program, the crown jewels of their intellectual property.
But Gasparov, he's not so quick to believe Rick's story.
He's skeptical, warns Rick about the dangers of these advanced technologies.
Especially those BNI biochips, blurring the lines between man and machine.
And that distrust, it's not just between Rick and Wise, it's starting to grow between him and you, too.
You can't blame him. He's relying on her for his life, but he can't shake the feeling that she's hiding something.
Makes you wonder what secrets she's keeping, doesn't it?
But while all this is going on, back in the corporate world, things are falling apart.
The crash, a simultaneous disaster at a Wise solar farm in Shanghai.
Wise is in chaos, and that's where Ava Canberry enters the picture.
Ava, the newly appointed president of Wise, a woman of ambition and, I suspect, a few secrets of her own.
She takes charge, projects an image of strength, control. But beneath that facade,
There's something else going on. Oh, absolutely. Let's not forget Lillian Beauville, Ava's lover, battling addiction, and dealing with Ava's infidelity.
a tangled web indeed. And then Lillian makes a discovery.
Evidence suggesting that Ava might be behind the whole thing.
The key algorithms, theft, the attacks, all of it.
That's what it looks like. Ava playing a very dangerous game.
The question is, why? What's her end game? Is she after power within Wise, or is there something bigger at play?
That's what we need to unravel. The motives, the connections, the hidden agendas.
And trust me, folks, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We'll be right back to dive even deeper into this corporate thriller.
You know, it's fascinating. While Rick's dealing with the aftermath of that crash, Lillian's in New York making her own discoveries.
Both of them, though, kind of the same boat.
In a way, yeah. They're starting to see the people they trusted, the institutions they relied on, well...
The cracks are starting to show.
Exactly.
We left off with Lillian, reeling from that revelation about Ava's affair.
But it's more than just a love triangle, right?
Right.
This goes deeper. Power, betrayal, maybe something even darker.
The key algorithms, the ones we talked about earlier. Lillian finds evidence linking Ava to that data theft.
And not just the theft, the whole thing. The crash, the Shanghai disaster, the works.
So Ava's playing for keeps. But why?
Control. Whoever has the key algorithms, they have the keys to the kingdom.
Control over Wise. Maybe even more.
Think about it. BNI technology, the potential for manipulation.
In the wrong hands, that's terrifying.
And Ava, she's ambitious, ruthless. Who knows what she'd do with that kind of power?
So where does Rick sit into all of this?
He's a wild card. He knows the key algorithms inside and out.
A valuable asset,
Or a dangerous liability.
depending on who's pulling the strings.
Exactly.
So we've got NUU working her own angle, Ava consolidating her power, Lillian seeking revenge. It's a mess.
And don't forget, there are other players in this game, too. The Russian government, for one.
Always lurking in the shadows.
Their motives are anyone's guess, but they're definitely involved somehow.
Back to Rick, though. He's stranded, injured. NUU has just vanished.
He's alone, doesn't know who to turn to.
He's got that communication device, though, the Bracecom he found in the wreckage.
A little long shot, but it's something.
So he reaches out to Wise, expects them to send a rescue team, right?
He thinks he can trust his own company.
But that conversation with Liz Weiser, Wise's security chief,
Chilly.
they're more worried about the stock prices than their own CEO.
Cold. Calculating. Priorities, right?
Rick's on his own.
He makes a decision then. A risky one.
He heads for Hacker City.
Trusting in you even after she betrayed him.
It's a gamble.
But he has no other options. Hacker City, it's a long shot, but it's a chance.
A chance to disappear, to figure out what's really going on.
But Hacker City is dangerous. It's full of people who distrust corporations like Wise.
He's walking into the lion's den.
And the journey there, it's not easy. Mods, mercenaries, even Chinese intelligence agents.
That encounter with Zhu Zi, the Chinese agent?
What's they doing there?
Is the Chinese government trying to exploit the situation? Or is there something else going on?
The sources, they don't give us all the answers, which just makes this even more intriguing.
In NUU, though, she proves herself in that fight.
Skilled, resourceful. Makes you wonder what her story is, where she came from.
She's a ghost.
A shadow. We know so little about her, but she's clearly a major player in all of this.
They finally make it to Hacker City. Battered, but alive.
Rick goes back to Ira Gasparov, hoping for help.
But Gasparov, he's not so easy to convince.
He's heard it all before, seen it all before. He's skeptical of Rick's claims.
Especially that entanglement attack Rick thinks brought down his plane.
Entanglement, that's related to those BNI biochips Rick's been working on.
The ones that connect the human brain to digital networks.
Exactly. And that connection, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities and dangers.
What do you mean?
Imagine being able to control someone's thoughts, their actions, just by manipulating their biochip.
Like a puppet.
In a way, yeah. And Rick, with his deep knowledge of BNI technology.
He could be the perfect target.
Exactly. So now, Rick has to question everything. His memories, his actions.
He can't even trust his own mind.
That's the scary part.
Does Gasparov help him?
He does, but not without strings attached. He gives Rick a safe house, a way to communicate with Wise.
But he also gives him a warning.
Trust no one, especially those closest to you.
Because anyone could be the enemy.
Exactly. And he drops another bombshell.
About the BNI
Where
technology.
he talks about the potential of it. Whoever masters this technology, they could become like a god.
Whoa. We've gone from corporate espionage to playing God in just a few hours.
That's the thing about this deep dive. It keeps expanding. It's not just about corporate greed anymore.
It's about something much bigger. The future of humanity, the nature of reality itself.
Exactly. So we've got Rick in Hacker City trying to figure out if he's even in control of his own mind. Ava, back at Wise, consolidating her power. Lillian, operating from the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike.
And then there's those mercenaries. The ones who attacked Rick's plane.
We thought they were dead.
But it seems they're not so easy to get rid of.
They're back. And they're coming for Rick.
This just keeps getting more and more complicated. The stakes are higher than ever, and the line between friend and foe is blurred beyond recognition. It's a pressure cooker, isn't it? Rick, stuck in this den of distrust, wondering if he's even thinking his own thoughts.
And Ava, meanwhile, she's capitalizing on all this chaos.
The attacks, the data leak, she's using it all to her advantage.
She's painting herself as the savior, the one who can guide Wise through the storm.
Turning fear into power.
Exactly. And anyone who questions her, like Robert Lee, the last board member who's not totally on board.
She makes them look weak, out of touch.
Obstructive, a threat to the company's stability.
She even goes after Liz Weiser, the security chief.
The one person who could really challenge her.
With an audit, no less.
Silencing dissent. Classic power move.
Ava's playing hardball, that's for sure. But don't forget about Lillian.
Oh, she's still in the game. Working from the shadows, waiting for the right moment.
Gathering evidence, building her case.
And this is where things get really interesting. Remember, in you, the mystery woman who rescued Rick,
The futurist.
Lillian, she uncovers the truth about Inyu,
What a truth.
In you, she's working for Lillian.
No way. So Lillian's the one behind all this.
Not exactly. Lillian's motive, it's revenge. She wants to expose Ava to take her down.
So it is personal then.
Very personal. It's about betrayal, about justice. Lillian wants to dismantle the power structure that Ava represents.
And she's the tool Lillian's using to do it.
Exactly. A weapon. But a precise one. This isn't about global domination or anything like that.
It's about taking down Ava.
And exposing Wise's dirty laundry in the process.
It's like a corporate soap opera, but with much higher stakes.
And with the fate of the world hanging in the balance.
So where does Rick fit in all of this? He's still in Hacker City, trying to stay alive.
He's the human element in all of this, the one caught between these powerful forces, these conflicting agendas.
And he's still a target, right? Wise security, those mercenaries, maybe even the Chinese government.
He's on the run, physically and mentally, injured, exhausted, doubting his own sanity.
And Inu, what about her? Is she really loyal to Lillian? Or does she have her own game going on?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? In EU, she's a mystery wrapped in an enigma. We see glimpses of her motivations, but her true intentions remain hidden.
So many questions, so few answers.
Does Rick escape Hacker City? Does Lillian succeed in her quest for revenge? Does Ava maintain control of Wise and those key algorithms?
Our sources, they leave us hanging.
The final scene, it's a cliffhanger. Rick and EU, they're fleeing Hacker City just as Lillian's plan is set in motion.
And that's where our deep dive ends. For now, at least.
But the story, it's not over. The game's still being played, and the stakes have never been higher.
We've covered a lot of ground today. Corporate sabotage, international intrigue, questions about the very nature of reality.
And at the heart of it all, human beings, driven by ambition, greed, revenge.
And the consequences of their actions, they ripple outward, affecting not just individuals, but the entire world.
It makes you think, doesn't it? About the power of technology, the choices we make, the lines we're willing to cross.
This deep dive, it's been a real eye-opener. A reminder that the future, well, it's not set in stone.
It's shaped by the decisions we make today, the paths we choose, the people we trust, the values we hold dear.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride, everyone. And until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep an eye on the shadows.